Hello and welcome everyone to the Amateur Commentator. This is a new segment where we'll be previewing the IPL teams for IPL 2022. And in today's episode, we are previewing the Kolkata Knight Riders. Hello and welcome to the show, Anshul.
Thanks, Amit.
So before moving forward, I would request all our viewers to kindly like, share, subscribe our content, give us your feedback, and tell us how we can improve the contents. So let's move to Kolkata Knight Riders now. New captain, the jersey looks pretty decent. And even before the tournament has started, they have replaced their openers. What are your initial views on KKR, Anshul?
I think this is one of the most interesting team because Shreyas Iyer, is one of the player who is one of the most expensive player in the auction this year, and they have invested heavily. I'm not too convinced on their retention part, but at least their bowling lineup looks pretty strong. They might be thin in terms of batting because most of the players, even in the playing 11, let's look at the playing 11, then probably we'll be able to comment more on that. Based on our understanding, probably KKR will open with Venkatesh Iyer and either Rahane or Jackson, and we're expecting Shreyas Iyer to bat at number 3 because that's a slot where he batted when India were playing, West Indies and Sri Lanka also in India. Nitish Rana will be playing at 4, followed by Sam Billings and Andre Russell. Since Pat Cummins will not be available for the initial part of the tournament, as he will be coming from Pakistan directly. So we're expecting Mohammad Nabi to take place instead of Pat Cummins. The another player which they can probably look out for is Tim Saudi, but I am not sure whether they will consider Tim Saudi because they already have other pace bowling options. And obviously then they'll have Sunil Narine, Shivam Mapi, Umesh Yadav, and Varun Chakravarti. What's your opinion about this playing 11 which we have currently?
I think missing Pat Cummins has not been great in the IPL like he has been in every other format for Australia, and he has done pretty well. He has not been the best of IPL players, although he has been one of the most expensive ones. But I was hoping that I am in fact hoping that this season Cummins will have a greater role to play. This is again one of those teams which we last time discussed may not have retained well, and a lot of this depends on whether how good Andre Russell is. And we saw him go out to the US, practice with the was it the Dallas Cowboys or someone? Yeah, so he's looking to improve his fitness. Lot will also depend on how Sunil Narine performs. He's aging. He has been doing decently well across other leagues, but in IPL he has been a great servant for Kolkata. But we'll have to see how he does. One of the interesting players that I'm looking forward to this season is actually Sheldon Jackson. I believe that they should play him ahead of Ajinkya Rahane. Although this could also, with Rahane not being in the Indian team, this could free up his mind and he could be the batsman we saw in early years in Rajasthan. But I still feel that Sheldon Jackson is in good form. He should play. Nitish Rana has been a decent player for them. So I'm hoping that he will give a 300-run kind of season again for Kolkata. But the most interesting addition to this team, I would say, is their new captain, Shreyas Iyer. It's a new philosophy. Baz and Owen Morgan, we know how tight they are and how tight they have been. So this would be a completely new scenario for Baz McCullum as well, to have Shreyas as the captain. I would actually like to know more about Shreyas as a captain. What do you think? How do you think he will perform? Because he did quite decently in Delhi in that one season.
Yeah. See, one thing important about Shreyas Iyer is he's also from Mumbai. So I would assume that he will have a pretty decent season because he's also in a very good form recently, whether it may be T20 cricket or Test match cricket. He has been scoring runs for India. So he's in a very good form going into the tournament. But one problem factor for me when watching this batting lineup is that top 4 is they all are very similar players. They are not very out and outright aggressive players. Yes, we have seen Venkatesh Iyer and Shreyas Iyer to score at a pretty brisk run rate and strike rate, but Venkatesh Iyer has scored those runs for India batting lower down the order. Here he will be opening the innings for KKR. Secondly, we're not sure whether Mohammad Nabi will get a game or not, considering Pat Cummins is not there for the initial part of the tournament. But if he's able to play, those couple of games will be very important for Nabi to be considered, in the playing 11 going forward in the tournament. Because someone like Sam Billings or Andrew Russell or Nabi, it will not Andrew Russell, but at least for Sam Billings and Mohammad Nabi, it will be very important that they capitalize on these two games opportunity, because only one of them will play moving forward once Pat Cummins is back to the frame. So overall, I think their bowling looks very good and they have an all-round bowling attack, but they have a one-dimensional batting attack. That is something which I'm concerned about. And they will be playing the tournament favorite teams. I would say one of the stronger team in the tournament in their first game against CSK. So that would be a bit concern for me going ahead in the tournament for KKR.
I think there are two players in their squad who could make a difference. These are young Indian players in Rinku Singh and Baba Indrajit. Baba Indrajit, much like Sarfaraz, has been having a wonderful domestic season, and he has had a couple of pretty decent, pretty good, top-notch performances in Indian domestic circuit. Rinku Singh, again, another guy who has been doing well for UP. He's a good hitter. He has been with this team for quite some time now. So these are two of the players who could maybe break the mold which you are talking about. I think, yes, Rana is more of an anchor than a hitter. Shreyas plays the same role. We have not seen a lot of Sheldon Jackson, and from what I know, he's a pretty decent batsman. He is, in fact, I guess after Pujara and let's say Jadeja, he's the third best batsman in the Saurashtra lineup, and he has been a consistent in their Ranji first class game. So he's a long format player as well. So they're in more of an anchor kind of role. You have Rahane, who plays the same way. And as much as I like Venki Iyer, I think playing at number 6 or 7 for India with the likes of Surya Kumar Yadav and Rishabh Pant is a very different proposition than opening the batting in IPL. And I don't think that they will be playing him at number 6 or 7. Although that is an option that they could try, maybe to take over the whole left by Dinesh Karthik, because that's an interesting position. I'm not sure that KKR right now are thinking about it. Do you think they would look at something like that?
I don't think so that is going to happen, because you already have someone like Sam Billings or Andrew Russell or Mohammad Nabi for that matter in the initial part of the tournament, those kind of options. So I think they will look to capitalize Venkatesh Iyer in the top of the order. The other factor with Venkatesh Iyer is he'll be going with some pressure in the tournament. Last year was a rookie season for him. People did not know about him, so he could play his national cricket. But this time he is one of the retained players for KKR. They have let go someone like Shubman Gill and Dinesh Karthik, and they have retained Venkatesh Iyer. So yes, there will be an added pressure. Because essentially, as we spoke about in our first video with RCB, this is a kind of a pre-trial for the World Cup squad, and we have a lot of players who are auditioning for the middle order position for the Indian cricket team. So yes, Venkatesh Iyer is one player which I'm looking to watch out for in the tournament for the KKR side, but he will have some pressure.
Yeah, I kind of also I completely agree on that. I think second seasons are often the more difficult seasons. We have seen players like Shreyas himself, Rishabh Pant, who have had great beginning, great first season. They do taper down a bit in the second season, and then subsequently, I think if they are classy players as Iyer and Pant have been, and I think Venki is also someone like that, they could eventually be much more consistent. So this season is going to be a bit tougher for Venkatesh Iyer. Also considering the fact that he has played for India now, so teams know about him much better. They could plan much better for him. So that's going to be another crucial angle. Let's come to Kolkata's big strength, or at least what I perceive to be their big strength. It's the spin bowling department.
Absolutely.
With Varun Chakravarti, with Sunil Narine, they have they're one of the most deadliest spin bowling combo, and also spinners who actually choke runs in the middle. They don't give runs and they pick up wickets, which is a pretty deadly combination to have. What are your views on their bowling attack? And let's start with the spinners, in fact.
Yeah, absolutely right. They have a very good spin bowling attack, but my only concern here is they have not played a lot of cricket going into the tournament. The second aspect here is KKR will be playing a lot of matches in Mumbai. So yes, Pune as a ground is a bit larger ground, and larger outfield will be helpful for spinners. But I'm not sure they'll get the same amount of assistance or the boundary size when they are playing in Wankhede, because that is one of the wicket which is true bounce wicket. Yes, it offers for spinners, but batsmen also who are playing through the line, it is relatively easier as comparison to a wicket like Prebon, which is a red soil wicket. So playing at Wankhede would be a bit of challenge for them, but I think they would enjoy Brabon and MCA Stadium in Pune. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I think they may not like the Wankhede pitch as much. Historically, also they've not liked the pitch that much. Mumbai have kind of trounced them a lot in previous seasons. But yes, they would like Brabon, saying that it's a smaller stadium as well, like all the others.
Yeah.
So hitting with the through the line is much easier in these kind of stadiums. Saying that they have that experience there. So let's wait and watch actually how that happens. I was actually coming to another point which you talked about, which you actually mentioned in the initial stages, about Mohammad Nabi. How do you see Navi's role in this? I guess once Pat Cummins comes in, it will be difficult for him to keep that place. But in the absence of Cummins, if they are going to go with Navi, do you see him more of a batting all-rounder who could fill in with a couple of overs, or do you see him as someone who could actually start the bowling, because Navi is quite an experienced conductor in the first 6 overs? So yeah.
See, that is one option which KKR can explore. But when you look at the pace bowling options currently, what they have, Shivam Abi and Umesh Yadav, I would not say that they are among the best of death or bowling, death over bowlers. So addition of Pat Cummins after a few matches would be a very important factor, so that if Andre Russell is able to give them a couple of overs, Pat Cummins could take up the other end. So it is important for KKR to utilize Umesh Yadav and Shivam Abi in the initial part of the innings. So I do not expect Nabi to play a opening bowler role here, but more as a bowling all rounder. At least if Sam Billings and, for that matter, Andre Russell are able to score run. But saying that, it will be important for Mohammad Nabi to take the opportunity of batting as well in case Sam Billings is not able to score runs, so that once Pat Cummins is back, he should be in the mix of the occupying the fourth foreigner spot.
Yeah, I think we have talked a lot about their playing 11 and the players that we are looking out for. There's actually a very interesting name that I would like to take right now, and that is of Anukul Roy. Roy was with Mumbai Indians in the last few seasons, and he is, I guess, best Indian fielder after Jadeja from what I have seen of him. He's a good left arm bowler, a great fielder. But something very interesting happened a week back, where Jharkhand playing against Nagaland in the playoffs for the quarterfinal positions pounded Nagaland like anything. They scored 800 odd runs. Roy scored a half century in the first innings and then went on to score a century in the second, where after Jharkhand leading by more than 1,000 runs, actually the match ended. So that's another option. He's quite a handy left arm bowler, and as much as Ranji Trophy is a 4-day, 5-day affair and it's a longer format, he's coming up some good form. So do you see him getting a chance anytime in the future? May not be in the first 2 games, but future?
See, firstly, I would not read too much into that pre-quarter final match, because I don't feel that there was an even contest between batters. Coming to Anukul, I'm not expecting him to get a chance, at least in the initial part of the tournament. But say, for example, when we move to the latter part of the tournament, when pitches starts to get slow, and teams would be looking forward to include probably 3 spin bowling options in the team. And at that moment, when you want to have Sunila and Pat Cummins, and say for that matter, Andre Russell and Sam Billings, then at that moment, Anil Roy is someone who will provide an options like what Nabi can give you in the initial part of the tournament. So yes, moving forward, depending on the conditions and how the foreign players which KKR are picking, if they are not able to perform well, yes, I would see Anil Roy to make a place in the 11, but not at the expense of the top 4 players based on the current 11 which we have picked up.
So what are your predictions for KKR for this season, Anshul?
I think it is. They have a very good bowling lineup and they have a very strong bowling lineup. It will depend a lot in terms of how Shreyas Iyer is able to, map the entire batting lineup around him. And most of the times, this bowling lineup will do the job for them. But whether the batting lineup will be able to give them the winning scores of 171 or 80 odd, it will depend a lot on that. And it's also a factor of who is your second opener and what sort of game strategy KKR are going ahead in the tournament. If you have the same top 4 batsmen playing in a similar kind of role, it would be a tricky for them to score 170, 180 or maybe chase down big totals. So that would be a bit tricky for them, I would say. But I would expect them their batting lineup to play well in Pune and Wankhede. But going ahead at Brabon and DY Patel, we'll have to watch in terms of what kind of wickets they're playing in.
Okay, I think most of the things I kind of do agree with you. The only exception being that Andre Russell is there is in the whole kind of thing. He is a lot will depend on how he plays. May not be when KKR are batting first. I think they would rather like to chase than bat first. I think this is one of those teams where I feel Shreyas is a good chaser. He's someone that can pace his innings. He's a good player against spin bowling. And if the wickets are slow, and if they're playing in Brabon or if they're playing in the Maharashtra Cricket Association stadium, then Shreyas could be an asset. He could be the best batsman out there because I guess along with Rohit and Mayank, I think Shreyas is kind of the best Indian player against spin bowling. And if the wickets are slow, it could be playing into Shreyas's hand. Anyways, this is an important season for him. So I'm again expecting I'm expecting a mid-table finish for them. I don't see them qualifying straight away as number 1 or number 2, but I do feel that they could be jostling around for that 4th position somewhere down, along with maybe an RCB and some other teams out there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm not expecting them to, I'm not saying I'm not expecting, but I would say that they are not one of the favorites to reach the playoffs directly. It will depend a lot in terms of how they are performing. And yes, mid-table is something, or fighting for the 4th positions is something which I will expect out of them.
So yeah, that's it from our side. For me, they will be fighting for mid-table, maybe jostling for a number 4 position. From Anshul's side, it's also the same. We are kind of in agreement regarding Kolkata's position. So that's it from us today, and we'll be looking forward to the matches starting day after tomorrow. So thank you all. Thank you for watching. Request you again to like, share, subscribe, and please tell us how we can improve the content. At the same time, I would just also like to mention here that the Saudi Arabia Grand Prix is also coming up. Formula One is something that we do look forward to. So watch out the space for some Formula One actions as well. Thank you.